shock, the nerve, the audacity.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's the Audacity Podcast. I'm here right now, your boy Marvin, and I'm out here with Josh.
Hi, P-hole. We're here. It's just us two today, and I'm warning y'all now. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. we're finna bullshit this whole episode, but we needed to give our adoring fans something to hold them over because it's been a while. Life is kicking our asses a little bit, but we here for y'all. Matter of fact. So, anywho, been an exciting NBA season thus far. A lot of drama, a lot of overachievers, a lot of underachievers, some unexpected injuries. Why don't we start there?
Yeah, that's a perfect place to start. One of the bigger injuries that has just recently happened is the Ja Morant injury that everybody was talking about, because Ja came back, played in about 9 games. They had in the time that he was playing, they had about a winning record. They were about 6-3. And they were looking promising. They were looking pretty promising with him, but he ended up getting injured during practice of all places, which was a big blow for them. But they were already so far down in the standings that some people might not think that it was a big impact, but I do think him getting hurt during the season, a season where they could develop, could put a kink in their armor for the future. Because I know Desmond Bane, he's been balling, but he just recently got hurt. It's not looking good for Memphis this year. They can't seem to stay healthy, but obviously it's a big hit for the NBA, I think, personally, because Ja Morant is just one of the most exciting players, I think, ever in the history of the league. He's up there. He's like probably in the top 10 most exciting players ever that I've seen. And I don't know. I like to see Ja play. I like to, look up, see his highlights. I think it is a blow for the NBA, but it's such a blow for Memphis because I keep saying it. Memphis and OKC, those are the teams of the future. Those teams, I think they should have titles. If they don't, then I don't know. It's coaching or GM failure. It's got to be something. But I have high hopes for them, and I just think it's a big blow for them. And I hope that he can recover quickly, come back next year, come 100%. Because it sucks. He was suspended for the whole gun thing, and then boom, now he's hurt. It's just like, damn, bro. Everybody's been waiting for him, and he just got hurt. It's really, really disappointing. What do you think about it, Josh?
I think they should have paid Dylan Brooks. That's all I'm taking away from this. Pay that man. He over there in Houston. They're the 9th seed right now. They're over there winning games. Ime got them looking right. Shout out Ime. I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, but all the more reason for you to be on your best behavior and be on the court when you can be, because who knows when you're going to get hurt, and some of that time is going to be taken away from you. It's really unfortunate. But as far as your point about them being one of the teams of the future, I definitely agree. They have a good mix of like young talent and vets, like between Bane, John, and Jaren Jackson Jr., and then like Steven Adams, Brandon Clark. Luke Kennard's not older per se, but they have like a decent mix of like mature guys in their roster. Oh, Marcus Smart over there, bringing some heart and soul to that team. I could see them doing better in the future. It's unfortunate that this season definitely will not be that season. So very interesting. We will see where they go in the future. I hope Ja heals up good, and hey man, come back looking to light the league on fire. We all know that.
There was another player that was mentioned too. They've actually been comparing these two, Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton has been killing it for the Pacers this year. Right now they're calling him point guard 2.0. He's been going on some crazy benches. He'll be having like 15 assists with no turnovers. He's been hooping this year, hitting crazy threes from deep, carrying the Pacers. It's unfortunate that he just recently got injured. I don't know how serious his injury is compared to Ja. He will actually be back this season, so I think it's not as big of a deal to the Pacers, and I still think they're going to be a playoff team and make some noise. I think it is funny to me because these two players have been compared a lot. They've been comparing Ja and Tyrese because, Ja was suspended. A lot of people are saying that Tyrese was a better player than Ja because you know how it is. Once you don't see a player play for a little bit, you kind of just assume hey, this guy has to be better just because you know how we are, human nature. We don't see somebody playing for a while. We just assume, hey, they must be getting worse while that person's getting better. Ja heard the noise. Ja did his thing. Unfortunately, it was short lived. But the two player comparisons, I know that it's going to keep coming between them because, and that point guard position is very competitive. A lot of talented point guards in the league right now. I'm a fan of Tyrese. I like him a lot. I'm a big fan of Ja too. I hope we can see both of these guys on the court soon. I want to see Tyrese, especially in the playoffs. I want to see what he has to offer because he's getting a lot of clout, but he's also getting premature clout because he just doesn't have playoff experience. He needs to get that playoff experience in order to really become a big dog. Like I got to see you perform like Trey Young did before, like in the playoffs. I need something that's gonna make me say, hey, what do you bring to the table when it comes to you know when it really actually matters? You know what I'm saying? But I think Tyrese will bounce back. I hope it's nothing serious, but it is definitely a big blow for the Pacers because they're fighting for the playoffs, they're fighting for seeding. I think they'll still make it, but definitely a bad hit for sure. But what do you think about this, Josh?
Um, I think that team in general is like one star wing player away from making some serious noise. I just don't think they're deep enough to really compete with some of the top teams. They're fun to watch. They score a lot of points. They get up and down the court a lot. Tyrese is really him, but they're just not really like. I don't see them beating the Celtics, the Bucks, the Sixers. I don't really see them in that stratosphere of teams. Really, I just don't think they have the star power. Tyrese is really good, but he's not on the level of Tatum, Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Giannis. I mean, they're just not. He's just not one of those guys yet. So they need something else, and I think they're in the Memphis category of being one of the teams of the future potentially should things go right if they can put some pieces into place. So I hope he comes back this season. I hope he's all right. Lord knows they need him. They're gonna drop some games pretty soon. I'm expecting. They got a great coach over there, but the way they play, you can't really replace that. You can't really replace the things he brings to the table, all the intangible things. So
No, definitely. There's some rumors too that they're thinking of trading Buddy Hield because he hasn't really been performing that much. Um, the I think that could possibly be a good trade. Who knows? I don't know. That he's a sniper. He's definitely a sniper. He could shoot. I think he's one of the best shooters in the league. He's probably like top 15. I don't know about top 10, but he's definitely top 15 when it comes to 3-point shooters.
yeah, I might be
Um,
like top five. I'll keep it a buck.
top five. There's a
Uh,
lot of shooters, so I can't. I I have to list out my shooters, but he's up there. He's a force. He's
he's up
definitely a
there.
force. The thing about it is, I wonder how different their offense would look because I know Halliburton gets a lot of assists from Buddy Hield. I've witnessed it myself. Like he,
But they've been bringing Hield off the bench
yeah,
because they have Bruce Brown and Benedict Mathurin, and those guys are more defensive minded and whatnot. They're not quite
yeah,
offensive players, but I think it's sort of a good mix they got going on. Like when you need a little bit more energy and a little bit, you need a stopper guy who could do a little bit more dirty work. You can bring in Bruce Brown, and then when you need someone to go get you some buckets or like space the floor really well, which Tyrese needs, but you can put in Buddy Hield, and then Benedict Matherin's sort of mix of the two. So they
yeah.
got some decent guys at that two guard spot. It all just depends on how they play, and like even with Buddy Hield coming off the bench, he's averaging like three made threes a game. He's top of the league, damn near, and made threes. So I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like Matherin a lot. Obviously, you know me. I always support my Haitians. That's my
But
guy right there. But I like what you said about him. He's very defensive minded. He's very versatile, like very versatile player.
yeah,
I think that's the key thing. Like they're looking for more versatility as opposed to Buddy Hield. He is a tremendous shooter, but that's mostly all you're gonna get from him. Like he's not
right.
like a tremendous defender. He doesn't really bring much else to the table. I think what's funny to me though, recently I saw a tweet by Halliburton. They had what was it? It was like a 2K tweet. They had Halliburton throwing an alley oop to Buddy Hield, and Halliburton retweeted it, and he was like, he had that meme, the big boy meme where it's all like, that ain't who I think it is.
That is hilarious.
It was bad funny, and I was dying, but it's true. Buddy Hield's not that type of player where he's gonna like even be a high flyer, yeah, man, do this and that. But he can fit any system. He can make
Yeah,
any system better, and that is great trade bait. That's
right.
great trade bait. I agree with you though. They need a second player that's gonna be like, I don't know. They need a second player who's gonna be a star. But I think Mathurin could be that person in the future. I actually do. Like, I got high hopes for him because he was killing it when he came into the league.
Yo, Buddy
But
would low key be good on like the Lakers.
oh yeah,
Somebody
he
who
would be
could fucking
perfect.
shoot the ball.
He would be perfect
Like
on the Lakers. He'd kill it on the Lakers. Oh my God, that. But what do the Lakers got to offer for the Pacers? You know what I mean? They're not giving him anything good.
Cam
They're giving
Reddish.
well, the legend of Cam Reddish, man. Goddamn.
Oh,
The-
damn, son.
I,
Cam
I, I,
Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt. Get it done.
that is not how they got to get a better package. Like, the Lakers, I expect the Lakers to make some moves in the trade deadline. The Celtics said they make some moves too, but
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know that the Lakers need to make any moves. I think
Ooh.
they just need to fucking play harder to keep it a band. Like,
Oh, really?
look like two different teams from before the playing tournament and after the playing tournament. And honestly, a lot of it is just like LeBron. Like, LeBron's just not going that hard. He's not like imprinting the game, making his imprint on the game the way he was then. Like, so they need to find ways to win games without LeBron having to literally take over. Like, I don't see many teams beating them in the playoffs, but the regular season, this team's just not built for that, unfortunately.
I honestly think, like no disrespect in any way, shape, or form, but Darvin Ham, I think he needs to step up his coaching. Like, I think he's been a very like mid coach as of this year. Like, he's never been like a stellar coach to me, but I feel like some of like his play scheme, some of the things that he's been doing, some of his press conference, just I don't know. I feel like he's succumbing to some of the pressures of being a Lakers
Yeah,
coach, and he
yeah.
needs to take a moment and just, step back and just coach. No, I feel like he's being experimental with his coaching.
I think he
To
has
his
been a lot too, which I don't mind too much. Like, I feel like, but we're getting to that point in the season where you got to sort of pick something and stick to it. But they got a weird mix of guys, like, particularly when it comes to guards, right? Their guard, I feel like from the small forward position and up, they probably have the best depth in the league. But from like the point guard and two guard position down, it's not that great. Like, Austin Reeves is decent. He can score a little bit. I love him coming off the bench, playing against the other team's second units. He was cooking. Like, he was really playing well. He plays well with AD. He plays well with LeBron. I kind of like D'Lo coming off the bench too, because he can. He's a starter in my opinion. Playing against second units. He seemed to be really doing well. When he gets going, he gets going. I like Cam Reddish starting, but Cam Reddish is just so bad on offense sometimes. It's hard to like stomach that. Like, the turnovers, the just missed layups, what I mean? He's not a consistent enough shooter to justify having him on the court sometimes, but he is their best perimeter defender by a mile. And then it's like, where do you go from that? You put LeBron at point, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, because he's been starting for them. Torian Prince, who I like. He's a 3-and-D guy. He's solid. He's been streaky with the shooting, but I think ultimately he's who you go. He has to start for you. He's 6'8", can defend, and he's probably your second best shooter. Can't really keep him off the court. And I really like Rui Hachimura for them.
Oh yeah.
Huge. He can play the 3, play the 4, and then AD at the 5. So him, Braun, and AD in the game together, or him, Braun, Christian Wood, him, Christian Wood, AD, any combination of that is where the Lakers' strength lies to me, because that's the advantage they have on other teams. And other teams can't really match that type of size, athleticism, and versatility. They're not going to shoot the lights out of the ball, but I feel like Rui can shoot it well enough that you got to keep that he'll keep teams honest. Christian Wood shoots it well enough to keep teams honest. Braun is going to be Braun. You just got to figure out what to do at those guard spots because Austin Reeves can't play defense, but he plays offense. D'Lo, same thing. Then on the flip side, Cam Reddish could play defense, but he can't play offense. So it's like, well, you don't know what to go to on any given night. Because playing in Braun's system, guys really got to be able to shoot the ball to be on the court. But Braun's at an age where he needs guys to defend as well. So it's a rock and a hard place. So I feel for Darvin Ham. There's a lot to manage, but I mean that's what they pay you for, bro. Figure shit out.
Yeah, definitely. I want to take this time to kind of segue since we're talking about the Lakers. So recently, there was a call that was done in Lakers versus Timberwolves game. LeBron basically scored a very important clutch 3-pointer, and it was called a 2. And this is something that's been happening a lot with the referees, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. Recently, the Celtics played a game, and Jaylen Brown was hit in the back of the head, and it was called a foul on the floor. And then they reviewed it, and then it was no longer a foul after they reviewed it, even though it showed that he was hit on the head. And this goes with the question that LeBron asked, and I think it's one of the best questions. Why are we reviewing things if we're just going to get it wrong? And I don't know what type of agenda is going on with the league. I honestly think when it comes to I think when it comes to the NBA, and this is just me speaking from my heart, I think the NBA is entertainment. And they like controversy. And I do think some of these refs are being told to just mess up. Hey, do something that's going to get us going running on ESPN a lot. Do something that's going to be controversial. Do this, do that. Because there is no way that these guys are looking at this and saying, hey, that's not it. The one thing I could get when it comes to LeBron's one, and this was the point that I was making, is when it comes to the referee plays that they look at, they have to find out that it's inconclusive. They was ruled a 2 by the person on the floor. They couldn't really tell if it was conclusive. They were like, okay, it still stays a 2. That one, at least I can somewhat understand. Now, when it comes to the Jaylen Brown one, how do you overturn the play when he was already hit and it was called a foul on the floor? So you're telling me there was conclusive evidence?
For apparently, from what I heard was the rule is if you hit the ball and the person at the same time, or then it's not a foul or some shit like that. I don't, which doesn't make sense to me because I felt like we've always been taught the opposite. Like, oh, somebody will get a clean block, but they hit them on the body or some shit, right? So that's where the foul is or something like that. I don't fucking know what that call was or how they came to that conclusion there, to be quite frank. But I don't know, maybe I just don't know the rules as well as I think I do. But that one just don't make sense to me. I don't understand. The LeBron one's close, and like you said, there has to be conclusive evidence. Like it has to be super obvious, and that was a close ass call. Like even like I watched that mad times, and I was like, sheesh, I don't know. That could go either way for me. Yeah, I mean, but the
That
jail
was definitely close.
my only thing is, who were they playing that night?
So the Lakers were facing the Timberwolves.
No, I'm talking the Celtics.
I'm trying to remember. Right? I forget where they're playing.
Pretty sure they were playing the Pacers. It was like
oh yeah, it was the Pacers. You're right. It was the Pacers.
Like I don't. Part of me is like that doesn't make the league look good, you know. So why would that kind of publicity? And also, it's not like people always think like the league rigs games for the Lakers and shit. I could almost sort of buy that sometimes if the Lakers didn't get the shit end of the stick on so many calls we've seen over the last like couple years or so. But again, like for the Pacers against the Celtics, I don't really see how that benefits anybody in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, so I think a lot of these calls are just bad. People are just getting them wrong. Like, and we have like video evidence of it now is the tough part. So before it was like, oh, wrong call. It is what it is. We move on. Now it's like you're gonna see it on social media for days, and everybody and their mama's gonna have a comment about it, and oh, the NBA is rigged and this and that.
Mhm.
It's like it's just such a big deal, and it's like people are just wrong sometimes. That's the reality of the situation. We just miss stuff. Like it's always been a thing. It's always happened, and it's gonna continue happening. So if you're a team who don't want to get the shit in the stick, don't be in that position. Go win the game. Go beat people handily. Don't make stupid mistakes. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do?
I honestly I understand what you mean. I actually agree with that. People do make mistakes. I think the one thing that I do like that the NBA did, the NBA mentioned that both of those calls were incorrect. That when it should have been a foul and it should have been a three. Now the thing that I
No,
will
no, no,
say,
no, 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 no. They
yeah,
said the Jalen Brown one was the correct call.
no, the Jalen Brown
They
was
were
the
like,
correct
"Oh
call.
no," they doubled down on like because Jalen Brown commented on it on Twitter because the NBA their last 2 minute report said, "Oh, yep, that should not have been a foul on who the Jalen Brown jump shot. There should have been no foul." I was like, "Oh, excuse me, all right,
Yes,
I don't understand."
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought okay, interesting.
that doesn't make no fucking sense to me. But again, maybe I don't know the rules the way I think I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely, but I think you are correct just because I'm not seeing it online. But okay, so I thought it was something that they overturned that they said, oh, that was an incorrect call.
Uh,
Um, that is interesting. I don't know. I do obviously it maybe it could be Celtics bias. I don't know, but I definitely think it was a foul. I think when you get hit in the head, it's just a
like
foul.
shooting a jump, like shooting it, like I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. And the NBA really doubled down. That is crazy. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. The NBA L2M report states Jalen Brown was not fouled.
Like
Interesting.
what? Like, what are we talking about here, bro?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Like,
But I'll retract my statement. That well, the NBA did say that for LeBron, and that what they ended up doing when it came to LeBron, they removed all of the referees from the playoffs, so none of those referees will be reffing the playoffs.
uh, but whoa, here's my thing. Here's my thing. This isn't on the referees though. The referees made a call to Secaucus, New Jersey, where they have the replay center, right? When they do these things,
Yeah.
and they're the ones who said, "Hey, nope, it's a 2, not a 3." So how you gonna blame the referees for some shit like the niggas in the replay center determined? Because LeBron, I was asking, I think it was Tony Brook. No, it couldn't have been Tony Brook. I don't know who the dude was. That was the ref, and he was saying, "Hey, it's out of my hands. They made the call. They told us what it is." And then in the press conference, Brown was like, "Hey, I don't know. Somebody put in the call. Somebody want to see us win or something like that." Because that's what happens with those super close calls sometimes when they can't tell. They defer to the replay center, which is like to Braun's point. What are we doing that for if we don't get it wrong? So it's super strange, bro. I don't. These niggas wilding, bro.
It doesn't make any sense. It definitely doesn't make any sense.
I don't
Weird
get
stuff. Very strange stuff to say the least. I don't know, man.
it.
It's disappointing, but I guess we'll see. Like I do like the fact that we have the replays in the NBA. I like the fact that we have the challenges. I think it made the game better, and it's one of the great additions that Adam Silver has done. You know me, big fan of Adam Silver. Praise a lot of the stuff, new stuff that he's added and everything. Um, but yeah, that is one thing that's like, like I hate when I see them get it wrong, but
Yeah.
it is true though. When it comes to like the rule books, like you know, my ass just started refereeing and stuff. Like once you do start taking the looks at the rules and stuff, you're like, oh, okay. As a player, you really don't know all the rules. You know what I mean? It is a thing. So
Very
that's one benefit of the doubt I'll give the
thanks.
refs, but I'm still
Right.
iffy on that Jalen Brown one. That's a
I
foul.
I don't know, bro. Uh, that
Crazy
was
stuff.
rough. But
I
speaking of teams that could use a few calls, the Warriors are pretty awful,
Yeah.
and they don't look like they're getting better anytime soon. Um, what do we think about that? What do we think needs to happen there? What do we think is going to happen?
Oh Lord. When it comes to the Warriors, now everybody knows I'm a big Steph Curry fan. Been a Warriors probably been my second favorite team for like a while now. Probably going on like 5, say 8 years, I don't even know, for a minute. This is 2016. How long ago was that? 8 years ago? Jesus. But anyways, so I've been watching the Wolves. I've been seeing everything. I've been looking at the roster. There's been a lot of talk. So Jonathan Kuminga, he's not happy about his playing time. Moses Moody's not happy about his playing time. Steve Kerr has been so experimental that it's insane. And it's like, They have the Draymond issues. Draymond hasn't been playing. Draymond suspended. He's coming back soon. He's getting his mind right. Obviously, he's had like probably had mental issues. There's clearly something going on in his home life that has him like literally hurting niggas on the court. You know what I mean? Something's clearly happened. But now everyone's talking about, oh, it's the fall of Rome. The Warriors are going down. Da 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 da. Relax. We're mid-season. It's mid-season right now. I think people are kind of like, blowing things out of proportion a bit. Blowing things out of proportion a bit. Obviously, they've experimented a bit. They put Wiggins on the bench. They've got they've got a lot of things going. They lack a big, like they've always have. They're shopping for a big right now. The main thing I think that Golden State really needs, and some people may disagree with that. One, they need Draymond back. That's the most important thing. They need to get Draymond back. He's their motor. He's going to help wake them up. Two, the second most important thing, they got to clean up team chemistry because clearly the team chemistry is bad. You can tell. You can tell from a distance. You can tell from body language. You can tell from Steph being pissed every 2 seconds. He's moving like a sore loser a little bit. That's my guy, but he's moving a little bit like a sore loser. It's like, and he's got to be the one to uplift his team. They got to work on that. The third thing I would say is, I mean, honestly, they need Klay Thompson to step up. He has been mid this year. He's not Klay. And obviously he had the injury. Obviously things have happened to him, but he needs to get back to the old Klay for them to have any opportunity of competing, being a contender. They need Klay Thompson to be averaging about 20 points per game. Lastly, obviously this man got to step up without a doubt. I think he's going to get traded though because they got him as trade bait right now. But Andrew Wiggins, their third best player in my opinion. He hasn't been playing like that. He's averaging 11 points per game.
Who's their second?
Got Klay. I got Klay. So I'd say Klay right now is their second. At least this season, I would say Klay is there. Because if you were to look at like the stats overall, it is looking like Klay, which is crazy because it's a big drop off from Curry to Klay. But yeah. But I would say he's their third best player right now because of the way he's been playing this season. I think he's been underutilized by Steve Kerr heavily, and I think Steve Kerr is getting a little experimental when it comes to him. But I also think Steve Kerr is hitting panic mode, especially with some of the responses. He gave the response about Kuminga, like in the playing time thing. He was talking about, oh, I always wanted more playing time. That don't matter. You didn't have the skills of Kuminga. You were a knockdown shooter, best 3-point percentage of all time. But it's just Jonathan Kuminga has more potential than you had. Play that nigga. You feel me? And I don't know. I do think a lot of it falls on Kerr. I think some of it does fall on Curry too, because his leadership needs to be shown in these moments to lead the young dudes. I think it falls on Draymond for punching Poole in the past, messing up team chemistry in the past, and it's still like, it's still going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's still going because it's the truth. If you knock out a teammate, your teammates aren't gonna feel comfortable around you. They might fear you. They might even just be like, "Hey, I don't like that nigga." You know what I mean? So all of these things happening with the Warriors, it doesn't look good. Do I think they're gonna be contenders this year? Maybe not. Do I think they're gonna make the playoffs? Without a doubt. I still think they're making the playoffs. Without a doubt. I think they'll make it.
Uh, all those things you said they need. You know what they could need? What they need right now? They need Jordan Poole, nigga.
He needs them too. They need each other
too. That's what I'm saying. Yo, tell Draymond to call this nigga and apologize. Right? You know what I mean? Trade this nigga. Y'all need this nigga, bro. Go get my nigga, bro. Like the whole point of them having Jordan Poole was he's supposed to be like he's supposed to be the future. And they sort of ruined that. And now they're scrambling because Klay isn't as good. Draymond. Here's the thing about the Warriors. They've always played in the Steph Curry system. And in order to do that, you need a certain things. The first thing that's obvious to me when I see them, they need a shot blocking big to start games, right? That can compete with the other bigs in the league. So they have that flexibility in their lineup, right? And they just don't have that. Kevon Looney is not that. He's great. He rebounds the ball well. He does his job, but he's not the athletic lob threat that they always had, right? So that when they go and they double team Steph in the Steph Draymond pick and roll, right? Steph gets doubled at the 3-point line. They hit Draymond. They need that lob threat big. That was their bread and butter. They would kill the Cavs with that, kill every team with that. I'd like to see a stat on how many points they scored over the years on Draymond the big pick, Draymond alley oops to the big. They used to do it with Iguodala a lot when they went slow, right? But they need that lob threat, and they don't really have that right now. They're also missing the other piece of that, Draymond Green. They don't have a guy who can make plays when Steph gets doubled, right? They don't have a guy who they can trust with the ball to make a good decision when Steph gets doubled. Steph is great, right? But when Steph gets doubled off that pick and roll, who are you giving the ball to make a play? Kevon Looney? Kevon's not, that's not his game. He's not a decision maker like that. And that's the true value in Draymond. Outside of all the defense and all the other shit, that's where he fits on offense. Now, they don't have the knockdown shooters they had in the past. Clay is not shooting the ball at the clip he used to be, so that makes Draymond or whoever is in that position that Draymond normally plays a little bit less effective, less options to have, because now teams are forcing you to be that scorer. Looney is not gonna beat them, so they're like, "Fuck it, we'll double Steph. Nobody else is gonna do nothing," and that's what's happening. And they need what's the other piece? A wing scorer that could get you a bucket or get you 20 or get you a bucket at the end of the shot clock. And that was a lot of times where Wiggins came in. He's 6'8", can get a shot off over somebody if he needs to. He's a decent scorer. He can take advantage of a mismatch where he needs to, and he's been awful too. So he got to get better. They need to find somebody else who can score 20 consistently, because it's not Klay Thompson. Or score 20 on his own consistently. Go create for somebody else. They don't have no creators. They started playing Brad Podziemski, right? They started starting him. He's good. He makes good decisions. He takes care of the ball. He's heady. He sees things that happen ahead of time. I understand why they play him a lot, but he's not a playmaker. He's not a creator the way Jordan Poole was. That's why Jordan Poole fits so well next to Steph, because as they got older and Klay wasn't playing as good, they needed someone else to take some of that pressure off for Steph, and they don't have that right now. As great as Steph is, Steph has clear limitations being 6'3" and the type of player he has. There's so much value in the amount of attention he got, but if you don't have nobody to take advantage of that, what good is that? You know what I mean? It's like, bet we'll double team him, ain't nothing else going on. So that's where they lie right now. I don't see that changing this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they miss the playoffs. Hopefully they can figure some shit out. But I mean, it's looking real ugly right now.
Yeah, no, hopefully it can make the playoffs. I think when the playoffs don't have the Warriors, it's like I don't know, it feels like you're missing something. You know what I mean? You always want to get the high profile players up in there.
That'd be a death of mark on Steph's legacy, missing the playoffs.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and it's not like they're unhealthy or nothing either. It's just like they're just not good. They don't have good players, bro. Like they just don't. This reminds me of the year Clay was injured. Remember I said like, yo, that was the best thing that could happen to them, so the other guys could learn and develop and play.
Yeah.
Just got rid of all those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
they're not even playing those. It's like they haven't been playing with Steph for 3-4 years now. It's like they don't know how to play with him still, which is very alarming. I think Moody definitely deserves more time. I
Oh
understand why
yes.
Kuminga doesn't play, because he does boneheaded shit a lot of times. It's like he thinks he should be the star on the team half the time. He's just the type of shit he be doing, like looking Steph Curry off. Are you kidding me? Like, what do you like? Who do you think you are? But Moody fits very well. He's probably their third best shooter outside of Clay and Steph in terms of just pure jump shooting ability. And then he's unselfish. And he's also 6'7.5", 6'8", long, can defend it half decently, and he makes good decisions as well. So I don't know why he doesn't play. Like I don't understand. I don't know what Steve Kerr's doing. I granted I don't watch as many games as I probably should, but in the games I've seen, he's not the one doing dumb shit. He seems to know what he's doing when Steph's on the court. Kuminga, not so much. But Kuminga could be that lob threat that I was talking about. I think, or like small ball five, that Iguodala role, what Iguodala used to do. But he got to learn how to play though.
Definitely. I hope they can figure it out. I hope Steve Kerr I don't know, keeps it rolling, but it is looking iffy. It is looking iffy.
It's looking very iffy. Question to you: you think Steve Kerr gets the same type of contract Eric Spoelstra just got?
Uh, I don't think so. I
I'm
don't think so.
saying, like, it's hard to justify a little bit. It's not hard to justify. He got 4 rings.
He got 4 rings, but it's just one of those things where it's I feel like, and I know this is a random comparison because it's not this bad, but sometimes the game changes, and I feel like everybody changed the game kind of to, copy the mold of the Warriors. You know what I mean? So they took a page from the Steve Kerr book, and Steve Kerr, he took a page from the Mark Jackson book, and he had a team that was already built and brought him to greater heights than Mark Jackson or anybody else could. Um, we recently seen a great, probably like the greatest of all time for football, just leave his team or retire, get mutually part ways or whatever with Bill Belichick. And I feel like when it came with like the Patriots, it was like the methods that worked before wasn't working for like that rebuilding team that we were having at the point, but it would work with a championship squad.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what's happening right now with Steve Kerr. It's kind of like, yeah, you got this championship mentality in the way that you guys usually play, but it's not a championship squad. So you kind of suck at rebuilding. You know what I mean? And if they're going the rebuilding route, you kind of have to look at Steve Kerr and be like, oh, are we gonna pay you this much? Because Eric Spoelstra, like he rebuilt it, and it's like, oh shoot, you're a great coach. You're one of the best coaches of all
yeah.
time.
They have a culture down there that seems to really permeate players, and they hold players accountable to a different level for sure.
Exactly.
Sazam was talking
Exactly.
about this recently on a podcast. He was saying he doesn't think most players in the league could last playing in Miami because it's different. Like it's just a different type of atmosphere there. One thing I will say though is we used to give Golden State a lot of props for how they develop players. Remember that? We used to talk about that a lot. Like players go to Golden State and they're so good, but when they go to the Lakers, it's like they don't learn shit. I feel like I might have to take some of that back because how are these guys still don't know how to play playing with Steph Curry? They've all been there. Minga's been there 3 years. Moody's been there 3 years. Uh, who else? Kevon Looney. He knows he's probably the only one. Clay thinks he's Clay from 2015. He's not. And it frustrates Steph a lot of times, but it's like who else are you gonna get to take some of those shots? Um, Draymond is having a mental health crisis. But I really expected more from Moody and Kaminga specifically because they've been here. They were getting minutes in the playoffs last year. Like you would expect that they know what the drill by now, but it's like, particularly Kaminga, especially, it's like he got his own agenda. You know what I mean? It's weird watching him play. So I think that's the nigga they trade to be keeping a buck. I think he has a lot of value around the league. Go get a vet go get a vet lob threat that can block shots a little bit. You know who would be great on their team? Robert Williams if he was playing.
Hmm.
He would fit perfectly. He would be like Andrew Bogut, uh, or Zaza Pachulia, David West, those guys that could do that, but even more athletic, like even more of a shot blocker. You know what I mean? That's the one thing they're missing. And then shit, what do you do for Wiggins? What do you just hope he plays better? Who are you gonna get? Like, what do you think is gonna happen over? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know. Low key, I feel like Kyle Kuzma could fit really good with them.
Oh, definitely. He'd be
Like
good.
he can go get a bucket. He's six whatever, can rebound the ball a little bit and can shoot it. Like, and he plays off the ball. He doesn't need the ball. He cuts really well. Like he would fit that system perfectly. And he's over there in Washington rotting away. So
Yeah, no, he would fit perfectly, but you know how it is. With him, I don't know. He right now he's the guy at Washington. Not saying that he wants to stay at Washington or anything, but it would definitely be a whole different situation for him going to the Warriors. I think he'd probably be happy to go out to the Warriors, but that is something to think about. Um, there's a lot of bigs that are available. The Warriors just need someone who honestly could rebound. You feel me? I think that's like the key thing. Need rebound, a shot block, like you mentioned, catch hoops. there's a lot of athletic guys. Honestly, this is a crazy take. I know people hate when I bring this up. If you want somebody for cheap, Dwight Howard keeps
Was just
begging to come
thinking
back to the league.
that. I feel like it might be a little late though. They should have done that like a year ago. Like, but no, I'm with you. Like, exactly. Like, that's the type of player they need. No cap. Someone who could bang with some of the bigs in the other league because they're not beating the Lakers. They're just too small, and they don't. They before they used to shoot the ball good enough where they could compensate for some of that, right? And then Kevon Looney was gritty enough that he could make bigs work on the other end at least. He's not gonna give you no points, but he's gonna do all the shit he needs to do. They don't they don't score the ball well enough that they could get away with that anymore. And they don't get enough easy baskets. Steph used to command so much attention, and Draymond used to be good enough where he can make dudes pay by making the right decision, give you 10 points. Draymond not even good enough to do that anymore. So it's tough. I don't really know where they go from here. I don't see the path out unless you literally trade everybody but Steph.
True.
Like everybody. Like everybody.
Very
Like
true.
retire his jersey, but he could go.
What is it? I do want to segue to a happier team. It's the exact opposite of what's happening. But recently we did lose a 30-point game, a 32-point game over against the Bucks, the 33, excuse me.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about our most beloved, our Boston Celtics. The Celtics are having a season on top of the league, killing it. 29-9 record, only team with single digits losses as of the point of this recording. I'm just saying, because we a little delayed, so sometimes things change. But I love it. 18-0 at home. That is serious.
Yeah.
That's what I love to see. I said it before, and I'll say it again. This is the best team that we have had since 08. Best team we have had since 08. I saw something, it was a comparison. I think it's stupid. I think it's a dumb comparison. I don't think it's on that magnitude, but I get why people would say it. People were comparing us getting Porzingis to when we got Kevin Garnett. No, I do not think it's that big of a magnitude at all. But I do think it's substantial. I think it's the best trade that we've done since we got Ray. Maybe it's up there. If we get a chip, it's hands down. I think it would be. I think Porzingis has fit the mold. He's averaging about 20 points per game. We got 3 people averaging 20. We got Jalen, we got JB, and we got Kristaps. And Derek White is eating. Derek White is chewing, bro.
This might
Look
be a
at that.
all-star year.
Bro, it's championship or bust. If we don't win it this year, you know what I mean? It's scary because it's one of those things where we got to make sure we can keep the same exact team because
Yeah.
this really got to be it.
We got to go back to the finals at bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
If we lose to Denver or some shit, we lose to a team that's also really fucking good. That's fair, but
yeah,
I don't like. We got to make it to the finals at least. But yeah, I'm with you.
We can't lose to the Heat. We cannot lose to the Heat. I'm just throwing that out there because
Yeah.
the Heat will be back. The Heat will be there in the playoffs. They're going to be semifinals, conference finals at least. We can't lose to them.
Yeah, I would be very upset. One thing I will say is the 30-point loss at Milwaukee doesn't bother me. That was our 5th game in 7 nights on the road. Like they won't. I think they could beat us in a series, but they're not gonna beat us like that regularly. They just had a great night. We were off. Yeah, I mean it's that it happens. It happens. Second night of a back-to-back also. More importantly, you remember the Warriors game a week ago, however long ago that was?
Yeah.
Shit, games like that bother me. Because besides the fact the Warriors just have our number, we see the lack of maturity still sometimes. The lack of discipline, the lack of I don't know. Like when I compare them to championship teams of the last few years, we don't really get easy baskets like that. We got a lot of talented guys who just get shit done, but we don't score. We don't get a bunch of easy layups. We don't get a bunch of backdoor layups. You know what I mean? Remember, I was just comparing them to Golden State and the Draymond to Iguodala, the Draymond to the big lobs or whatever. Everything is very difficult, And we play great defense, I'll say that, and we're great in transition, which is great. When the game slows down in the half court in the playoffs, that's where I think other teams have an advantage sometimes. Like I could see Milwaukee having Dame, right? They have Dame now. I could see them having an edge over us. Giannis is Giannis, obviously. He has to do less, right? He could be even more of a menace on defense. Chris Middleton isn't the go-to guy necessarily down the stretch in the fourth anymore, but he's still a creator, a threat in the half court, which is something I feel like we lack a lot of times, particularly in close games. We always end up launching some BS three, and then we'll get the rebound. I'll shoot another fucking three. We won't find a way to get to the rim. We'll stop running offense. Like it's just that lack of maturity. I still see it rear its ugly head sometimes in big games and big moments. And that's my one concern for the Celtics. But talent wise, and many teams that could keep up straight up. Like I'll take us over anybody really. Like talent wise, the Clippers look great, but I'm not worried about them. Suns starting to look good, but I ain't the least bit worried about them. Lakers, low-key, I am more worried about just because of how big they are. But otherwise, ain't nobody really like player for player, talent for talent. Nobody's seeing our top six for sure.
I think for me, I look at the Celtics. I saw what happened with the Bucks recently. We had something last year. We did the same exact thing for the Bucks. I think we torched them for 40, even though they were working. I do see the Bucks as a concern when it comes to the Eastern Conference. I would say that that's that top team that I would be like, oh, okay, that's the one team. If we ended up losing in the East too, I wouldn't be like, oh, okay, that's crazy. I don't think any other team we should
I agree.
even like hold a like everybody
I don't
we
think
should
any
just be
other team
destroyed.
can beat us. Not even
Yeah,
Philly. I'm not worried
not
about
Philly either.
Philly. I'm not
'Cause
worried
no,
about
no disrespect to Embiid. I just think it's just obviously Embiid's the beast. He's a beast. He's the most dominant basketball player right now. He's a big man. He's dominant. He does this. He does that. Very agile. Very great shooter. Can do this and that. The thing about Embiid is like when he's a free throw merchant, and I just hate to say it, but it is the truth. Just don't get those calls in the playoffs, bro. That's
yeah.
the thing. And every year it's the same story. It's the same story every year, every year, every year, every year, every year. If you're just baiting to just flop and do this and do that, when it comes time to it, you're gonna have issues. Why do you think Giannis turns up? Giannis doesn't flop like that. Giannis goes hard every single time. He's playing like he going 100 miles per hour. He's playing real bully ball, real bully ball. You know what I mean? And Embiid kind of he plays a little finesse. He does bully ball it a bit, but Embiid isn't. Embiid hasn't proven to me that he can really get it done in the playoffs. He's very semifinals, semifinals, semifinals. And will they get over the hump this year? I don't think so, because I don't even think it was a Doc Rivers problem. I know people were kind of blaming Doc and saying, oh, this and that. No, I don't think it's a Doc Rivers problem. I think it's a 76ers problem. And I don't know if specifically it's just Embiid. I obviously Tyrese Maxey, that's the second best player. He's a hooper. He's hooping it. I don't know if he's at the point where he's really gonna be that second man that's gonna lead them to like the promised land right now. I think he's got crazy potential, though. I think he's a force, but I don't think it's their year right now. I think they still gotta wait. Think they
I
still
agree.
got time. I think they have the pieces though, but
Even
it's not the
outside
year.
of those two guys, I think the surrounding cast is not up to where it should be.
Yeah,
They don't like Tobias Harris is not
yeah. What happened to him, man? Like it's
not what
crazy.
they thought that he was when they gave him that contract.
Yeah, he's a fraud, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I
Unfortunately.
mean he's a decent player, but yeah, they need more. They need an identity. They don't really have an identity. They just sort of hoop, and they're more talented than some teams, so they'll win. And Embiid is just that good by himself, so they'll win. But they don't have when it comes to the top teams, they don't have something to go to when shit gets rough. They don't have something to hang their hat on. Um,
Exactly.
like when
Imagine if they had kept Jimmy Butler. Imagine how good they would be right now.
that's bro.
Literally, they probably have two chips right now.
Yeah,
No question.
he's he's a little too. They don't have the mental fortitude for a guy like Jimmy Butler, though. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, they don't. They definitely don't. And you know how it is. It's Embiid's team, and Embiid. I don't know how he really runs things, because he's kind of a joker. But I I don't know. I don't like Embiid being like the leading force. he can be just very unserious. So I just don't know how he really is. How is that locker room in general? How is Philly really?
Mhm.
I don't know. It is a question to ask. But if you ask Al Horford's sister, she'll say it's horrible. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's the final topic though. You got anything else to add, Josh?
Bro, that was good, short and sweet. Got to where we needed to.
Yes, sir. You know what it is. It's the Audacity Podcast. As you know, we're gonna keep it going, guys. In the future, like I said before, we will have some live stuff. We will have some more interviews. It's just me and Josh right now. Um, we are gonna be doing more podcast episodes with fewer people. It won't always just be 4 people. Sometimes it'll be 3. Sometimes it'll be 2, just to get more content, excuse me, over to you guys because we're just busy people. You know, we're adults. We're working. We're doing a bunch of stuff. But the podcast is still going to keep going. We're going to keep doing our things. You know what it is. Um, keep following us, keep liking, subscribing, keep reposting. Definitely big fans of you guys, our fans, because you're the reason we keep going. So many people telling us that, telling me at least, we got to start doing what is it, like the plus minuses or whatever, the like betting stuff. I'm not betting myself yet, so I can't even do that yet. But but maybe in the future, we got something going
I'll put some money on the line for you guys. Don't worry.
But yeah, we'll get something going. But yeah, keep giving suggestions, keep listening to the content, and thank you so much for like sticking with us all this time. We really appreciate it.
Uh,
Yeah.
Peace,
Audacity
y'all.
podcast out. Oh yeah, what you got to say, Josh?
Nothing. Fuck y'all. Bye.